Yes, hello guys and welcome to the show. As you can see, I'm joined by two members of the team, so let me introduce them. First off, we have the Irish Chris Martin in the house. How are you, Adam?
I'm doing good. Nobody said it was easy being a Manchester United fan, did they?
Hey, there we go. I love it. And we have Daniel Raj, my co-anchor man on the news show. How's it going, Dan? You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Till before this match, I was in the thought that my work is bad, but I'm now loving my work after that
game. Yeah, don't blame you. To be fair, it takes your mind off it, doesn't it? To be fair, during the international break, I felt my mood like slightly lifted. You know what I mean? Throughout the whole 2 weeks, yeah. I was quite chilled, and then Saturday, my blood pressure was just like skyrocketing. So, yeah, it's not good for your health.
It was just like the roller coaster ride when it goes up, and then in the weekend you suddenly fell.
Yeah. United are always at the top there, and it just goes, shoots right down. That is just Man United for you. So yeah, hope everybody watching is good as well. The title of the show today is Ralph Rangnick Blasts the Board, and obviously it's a match sort of review. We're going to be talking about that. The game on Saturday, of course, against Leicester. A lot of stuff coming out last night about the club as well. Rangnick coming out with a few big quotes. Ten Hag within touching distance now to be the next manager. We're also going to reflect on the recruitment post-Fergie and get into that a little bit later on. So, yeah, just stick with us. But first off, I want to start off for anyone who hasn't seen it, or for anyone who has seen it, there is some news that came out about our former manager, Louis van Gaal, that he was fighting cancer. So I want to say as a collective from all of us here at Real Reds, we as United fans and human beings wish you the very best and hope you can win that battle. Louis van Gaal's army is certainly behind you on that one. So yeah, fingers crossed for you, Louis. I hope it all goes well. And yeah, a lot of people forget that he was, one of the two managers to bring us a proper trophy in the FA Cup, and then got sacked straight after it when he was, I think did he lose out on to top four by goal difference, something like that?
Yeah,
I think it was.
To City.
Yeah, and winning a trophy, I thought it was a little bit harsh to get rid of him there. But yeah, we think it's only Mourinho and him who've won proper trophies. It's been out of 5 managers. So yeah, some respect on his name. And I remember doing that clip the other day about him when he came out saying about United and saying they're a commercial club and all this kind of thing. I seen loads of people getting wound up about it, and I was like, he's right. He's absolutely spot on. Like, we are a commercial club. How long have we been saying this on this channel for? Like, we've been saying it for ages. So I had absolutely no issues with him saying that at all. Yeah, so before we get into all the stuff I've just listed, lads, I just want to talk to you guys about that shit show on Saturday. So unfortunately, we're going to have to dive back into that and get a little bit more stressed out. But yeah, we'll give some deep analysis on that. So yeah, Adam, where do we start, mate? If you want to start off with the stats from the game, so there's a bit of background and perspective in our analysis, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, going over the game, it was quite an even game, especially when you get into the stats. United had 54% possession compares to Leicester's 46%. Both had 11 shots in the game, and United had 5 on target, Leicester with 3. And we had 6 corners, they had 5. The big chances, they had 2, we had 1. And as we know, they had the goal disallowed. Some people were saying maybe it was a bit harsh, actually, to be chalked off. But it's up to you guys. Do you think it was harsh?
I said initially it was harsh. I think Maguire in that moment as well was a bit of a donkey. I don't know if you remember him. He sort of lunged in and kicked the player. But then he kicked Varane's leg, which made him slide. So I was kind of like on the fence about it. At the time, I thought if that got given against us, I'd be fuming. But it's one of them. I didn't think it was nailed on. I thought there was something in it, definitely. I don't know what you think, Dan.
Yeah, I think the Varane thing was absolutely a foul because we have seen that he just hooked his leg out of his normal position, and he was almost getting the ball there. So if he wouldn't have got the ball, then it would have been a different case. But the ball was almost in Varane's perimeter. So yeah, definitely, I think it was a foul.
I kind of felt like we deserved to win, deserved to lose that game. So I was kind of like, I'm not even bothered if the decision goes against us. Like, I'm not asked because we need a reality check. We can't keep scraping through these games and getting 1-1s and stuff like this. Like, because we're playing so bad, we haven't deserved half the games that we've had. So yeah, do you have any more stats on that, Adam?
We had De Gea done 2 saves, Kasper Schmeichel done 4. Obviously, De Gea done that wonder save from, I think it was the free kick on the edge of the box. got whipped in a header, and we had 582 passes compared to theirs 495. So we had the bulk of the ball. Obviously, we had that bit of extra possession.
Yeah.
If you want to go in, I can go into tackles, everything like that. But it was quite even all around. An all-around even game.
Yeah, this is the point I'm going to throw to Dan now. Yeah, Dan, we all watched the game on Saturday, of course. The stats there say it was, pretty even. It kind of felt like the game played out through moments, and both sides were, sort of engaging in spells, had 10, 15-minute spells where it was like, right, the onus is on them to go score. But yeah, what for Manchester United specifically, what went wrong for them on Saturday?
Yeah, considering this particular game, I think every areas of the statistics were closer enough. But I was very confused when the lineup was announced, and I am not a big fan of playing this formation with playing Bruno as false nine, because we have already seen in against Manchester City. I think it was when Bruno was played as false nine and it didn't work out. And at the same time, when I know that Rashford is not playing good, but at this circumstance, at this situation, when we do not have any other striker, I would have definitely gone with Rashford playing up top and just maintain that formation that we are building for the past so many weeks, and about the 4-3-3 formation. Then why you want to break that formation and play Bruno and Pogba up top playing like false nine? And when they played like that, there was no creativity in the midfield. Even the wingers were confused whether to make the runs forward or just to play as a striker. So it was all mess there with the lineup itself from the very start of the game, and there was no key passes played on, and so many offsides because nobody was able to track their own runs, and nobody was able to make the runs properly and time their runs. And you know that when Bruno and Pogba plays up front, then you are left with Fred and McTominay in the middle, and you know that whenever they get the ball, you cannot expect many key passes coming out from the midfield.
Yeah, 100% Dan, spot on there with your analysis. Just as a general consensus, do we think that bad performance was on the manager tactically? Like, I have to admit the system didn't work for me. Like, I didn't mind it against City in the first half. I thought it was okay, but then the second half we kind of tailored off. Against Leicester, it really didn't work, so I thought it was pretty bad tactically. But then I think on the same thing, the players, it's just a case of the same shit, different day for me. I don't know what you lot think. I'm just fed up with these players now. I can't be arsed with him. I'm done with him.
It's probably the most unlikable squad that I'd argue we've ever had. And they just down tools the whole time. Ralph comes in as the interim manager. They don't listen to him. They show up for 45 minutes against Palace when they follow his instructions. That's it. He had to go back to the old way of playing with them just so they were more comfortable. They're not willing to go out of their comfort zone, and it feels like their comfort zone is not winning trophies or competing. They don't want to. They're just not used to it, and they don't want to push on. Ronaldo comes in. He's shocked at the levels the club has dropped and the expectations. He wants to be fighting for these big trophies, competing, and the rest of them are just happy with trying to get fourth. They're not even at fourth now. They're probably miles off it now.
I was sat in work. Well, I was doing work before, just like mooching about, and I had like some sort of. I always have throughout the day. I'm always sat there thinking. 1 second. I'm thinking about individual players. I'm thinking like Ronaldo in particular. If we move into the Europa Conference League and we've got Ronaldo, we can't have Ronaldo playing in that. It just can't be done. Like Varane especially, it's come over for Champions League football. Like, just imagine Ronaldo, but he won't even, you just can't deploy him in any game against, like, I don't know, what teams are in Europa League Conference? Someone like Rennes or something, maybe?
You'd probably have some Irish teams.
Yeah, some Irish teams, and they're like, oh, Cristiano Ronaldo's starting today. Like, I agree with a lot of the fan base saying we should probably just, move on, like get eighth. You know what I mean? Take eighth.
Yeah.
Like Arsenal are now. Like they haven't got any games midweek. They've got a full flow, and they've got time like to train on specific things tactically throughout. Every week, every month, or whatever. So for me, just a very quick one. What's your preference? Like, if Europa Conference League, or would you rather take eighth over that?
For me, I'd rather we weren't in the competition at all. The only positive is Ronaldo will probably finish the all-time top goal scorer in the competition.
Yeah,
It's the new one.
Yeah,
So,
it's a good point. Another record
Champions
for
League
Ronaldo.
and that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but for me, you have to avoid it at all costs because you're against it's the third tier. Second tier is bad enough. So we're dropping to that level. It's just completely collapsed. The foundations are gone.
Dan, I remember how horrible the Europa League was on Thursday nights, playing at 5:30 against these lower sides and not even winning the tournament, like getting beat by Villarreal on penalties. It was just an absolute. And then for England, for me personally, they got knocked out in the final in the Euros on penalties. So that was just like a double whammy for me that last year. It was horrible. But if there's a choice now, the Europa Conference League or 8th position, are you taking 8th? I'll take it.
It's a very tricky one, but hope we don't end up saying that we are playing games on Thursdays and that's why we are not performing in the Premier League.
Yeah,
I would like to take the 8th position.
Yeah. It'll give the players.
What day did they even play?
And as well, another point. This is what Adam Matic was making on United Stand. He said you actually have to play qualifiers for the Europa Conference League. So in July, I believe, or June, July, there'll be games there like near the pre-season where you've got to actually qualify for it. You don't just go straight into it. So God knows who them games are going to be against qualify. You get like Motherwell in the 3rd round or something like. It's going to be ridiculous. But yeah, lads, bringing it back. I went slightly on a tangent there because I was just thinking Europa Conference League, please, dear Lord, no. Bringing it back to individuals on the game on Saturday, I still saw people going in at Harry Maguire. Like, it's become like a popular thing now, like a witch hunt. Like, they just want to tear into him, even when he plays relatively well. Like, I thought he looked a lot better on the right-hand side opposed to the left centre-back. I don't know what you lot think. I'm not saying he's back. It's, Vidic reincarnated. That sounds been made again, hasn't it?
That's my fault. It's my fault.
I was trying my best to keep so much composure there. Oh my God, sorry, Sam. We have a serious edit here. Right. Let me go back through this now. Right, 3, 2, 1. Now I want to speak about a few individuals in the game because I still saw people going in on Maguire after it finished, and it's just becoming a witch hunt now. Like, he actually had an okay game and looked a lot better in the right centre back next to Rafael Varane. And when he was switching the balls to the left-hand side, his ball playing ability and defensively, he was okay. It may have been protected a little bit more, but his performance was much better. And you're still seeing these people saying, Maguire was shit, he's this, blah, blah, blah. And for me, there was definitely shitter players on that pitch. I thought Langdo had a poor game. I thought Rashford did nothing when he came on. I thought a lot of the players on there were poor. McTominay was awful, absolutely awful. But yeah, just your thoughts on Maguire, lads. Anyone could take that one, like on his individual performance on Saturday.
Yeah, I think with Maguire now, I think with Maguire now, it's like the case that it has reached to that level where even if Maguire do not play, still he'll be criticized for that game. So it's now how it is. But at the same time, I think that Maguire was the better as compared to the previous games, and he was better than a lot of other players as well. And when he was shifted to this right side, I think he's feeling more comfortable alongside playing the Dalot and Varane to his left. And his stats were also almost similar to the Varane, so they both played at the same level. So I think it was a good tweak which Rangnick made just to help Maguire to get some better performance from his playing.
Yeah, Adam, what your thoughts on Maguire's performance on Saturday?
Well, just as Dan pointed out there, like he's playing these players to kind of protect them, but if it gives him even just a bit of confidence, because his confidence is at an all-time low. So maybe he just needs that confidence boost where he can go to, as Roy Keane would say, a level where he's just putting an all right average performance, not where he's being singled out every game, but he is being singled out even now, even though it wasn't a bad game on Saturday for him. So for me, it's just go back to the basics. He is doing that, get a bit of confidence by playing these players with these players who are going to protect him a bit more. and hopefully results will follow with that. But we're at the end of the season now.
Yeah, we're kind of just dragging our asses across the line now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Like, it's like we've done a marathon, and halfway through the marathon, we've had our legs chopped off, and now we're just sort of crawling to the finish line and trying to get through it. Right. I also thought Anthony Lang was really poor on Saturday. One of his worst games in the jersey. And I know he's only young, so it will happen, but we could have nicked 3 points from that game if he doesn't tackle Rashford in his own box. And for me, highlighted a little bit of inexperience. He's obviously a young player, and like I said before, I know it's going to happen. But there's a few other decisions that he made on Saturday where I was just like, an experienced player there doesn't do that. So again, just to remind people that he's still a bit rough around the edges. He's not a finished article, and there's still a lot to develop in his game. So 2 questions really. Do you think Rashford should have started? And what were your thoughts on Elanga's performance, or anyone else you thought was shit on Saturday? Adam, I'll go to you first.
Well, as a collective, the team weren't that great, but obviously Elanga at the end kind of he tried to have the write the headlines in his name. It felt like he was taking that chance off Rashford, but he's a young lad. As we said, we've been very critical of other young players, including Marcus as well. Fair enough, he has more experience, but it's more so a learning curve, because I say he's beaten himself up about it. That and he missed the penalty against Middlesbrough, wasn't it? So he's had a lot of lows already, but it's how he reacts to it. And usually he reacts well. The last 2 times he's had a bad moment, he's reacted well. So I'm hoping he can kick on from this. But it's fair to criticize him. Like, no one's above criticism. And I'm actually happy people are criticizing him, not defending him, because we can't be biased for one player over the other. Like, you have to have a level head for everyone.
Yeah, and he seems to respond well to criticism. Like you mentioned the Middlesbrough thing there. Straight after that, he got took out for a couple of games, and then when he was back in, it looks like he was on fire. So it looks like he's got a confident head on his shoulders. Dan, was there anyone else on Saturday who you sort of picked out, or you thought had a really bad performance? And what did you think of Elanga in particular?
Particularly about Elanga, I think he was on the whole 90 minutes he was ineffective, and he was looking like a bit confused also, like he had no idea what to do in the situation, because I can even understand what he might have been going through, like with this the formation change, the formation change, because I think it was at the very last moment when it was decided that Ronaldo is not going to play. So till this day he might have been playing alongside a striker, but now since there was no striker, he might have no idea what to do with the ball whenever he gets the ball, whether to make the runs or just to cross the ball, because now he had no idea whether who will be at the end of that cross. And at the same time, we can see that through this game we can see that there was a bit lack of experience, which is understandable because of his age and he's still learning. And at the time when Rashford had the chance and he just crossed over in him, that was a very like a bad moment for him as well, and would be an unfortunate for him, because it was like a very quick thing, and he didn't have the time to think about that whether he was in the offside position or not. But yeah, at the same time, he will come back stronger, I believe. And but at the same time, to summarize everything, I think that the formation may have affected his performance for that game.
You thought it was more a tactical side of things that affected it rather than individuals. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, for me, lads, I wasn't really surprised about the results. I've become numb to these kind of results now. If someone was to poke you consistently in the face for months, I feel like that's how I feel. Like you get numb, you know what I mean? You just kind of like, yeah, you take it as it is, because like I said, we're dragging our asses now to the end of the season to try, get a 7th or 8th place finish. That's the way it's going to go, because Tottenham won yesterday, didn't they? 5-1, something like that. Yeah. Other teams around us are doing really well. I think Arsenal are on in 20 minutes or something like that at the time we're recording this. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on. They've still got a game in hand on us, I think, or something like that, and 4 points. So yeah, it's extremely tough for us at the minute. And like I said, we're just kind of dragging ourselves. I tried being like, if you remember with the predictions when we was doing it. We had the reaction to the pre-match lineups and stuff. I was trying to be positive and I was trying to say we're going to get the job done. But deep down, I knew they'd put in a shit performance because the bottle jobs, and I've done this before under previous managers. It's a combination of players from different managers with different ideas, different motives, and that ultimately has been our downfall since Ferguson left the club. And it kind of leads me on to what I want to touch on, which is the recruitment side of things, guys. If you look at the 5 managers post-Fergie, right? Adam, do you want to take us through David Moyes' signings?
Yeah.
So we'll start literally from the very bottom, from when Fergie left.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, Fergie. It wasn't just Sir Alex who left. It was David Gill as well, who played a huge part in the club. So then Ed Woodward comes in as the new chief executive. He's negotiating all these deals. That summer, we were linked to Toni Kroos before he went to Real Madrid. Yeah. Cesc Fabregas too. And you have to remember he went to Chelsea. I think he was close to breaking the assist record.
Yeah.
Won the title with Chelsea. That was when Mourinho went to them. And he was probably, you could argue, the best player in the league at that point. So we missed out on him as well. We then got linked with a certain palm tree from Everton. Yeah.
A palm tree.
We got linked with him early in the window. Could have signed them, I think, for around 20 million. But then panic stations hit at the final day, on deadline day, and we signed them for 30 million. So that just showed the inexperience of Ed Woodward, how incompetent he is. Thank God he's gone now. Hopefully, better future ahead. We then also signed Juan Mata in the January window. And as we know, Mata, we played him out of position for years. For, I think, his entire United career, he's been played out of position. He's played out in the right. And let's be honest, he isn't a guy blessed with pace, like despite his size, but he does have a football brain.
Yeah.
I have his stats here at United, and when you just compare it to what he came off at Chelsea, he has 51 goals for us, 47 assists, and he's been here the guts of, I think it's 7 years now, 8 years. And then he's 3 years at Chelsea, he had 32 goals and 58 assists. So he had 11 more assists.
Didn't he get player of the season twice as well at Chelsea?
Yeah.
He was phenomenal there in the number 10. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. Yeah, even against us, I remember him scoring a few goals.
Yeah. He popped up with an assist in the Champions League final. He took the corner that Drogba headed against Bayern Munich in their own back garden. This is also something I went into. He has 1 red card in his career. Who do you think it was for?
Well, I can't imagine Juan Mata getting a red card.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine him shouting at someone, let alone getting a red card. Juan Mata, red card. Was it in the Prem or was it in European competition?
Prem.
In the Prem. Like a top half of the team or sort of bottom half, would you say?
It'd be bottom half of the team, bottom half team. They're not even in the division anymore, so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wigan?
Oh, we got West Brom.
Oh, again, Bigham with a W. I'll take that. What was it? 2 yellows or just a straight red?
I think it was 2 yellows. 2 yellows it was. Mike Dean, of course, sent them off.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me as well. Fair play. Didn't think he had it in him, to be honest.
No. And then you had Fellaini too. Of course, he was criticized heavily by fans. But then we seen he was actually being used a bit more. He popped up with some big goals against the likes of City. Yeah. And I think the fans then acknowledged he was actually trying. And like Phil Jones, another guy who was trying, he was playing for the badge. I know he wasn't the most gifted player, but we've lacked that in this current squad now. They don't try. And I said it in previous recordings, if, these players that we have now had the mentality of these past players, and maybe they're not the most gifted, but if they had the same mentality, we'd be in a lot better position.
100%. And Marouane Fellaini, he had his moments, don't get me wrong, in Europe as well. I can't remember it against, it might have been against Young Boys, actually. or he scored in the last minute.
Mourinho with the water bottle.
Yeah, Mourinho going mental. But Marouane Fellaini for me was never a Manchester United player. It reminds me if you put him in a Sean Dyche team now or Burnley, it'd be absolutely perfect. He sent that long ball up to him, and he's winning second balls and stuff like that. He was so strong and aggressive. Playing long ball was perfect. And I just think it never really suited United. Mourinho's always loved strong, tall, physical players. But yeah, for me, that was never a signing I would have made in a million years. Never. Especially when you can go get the likes of Toni Kroos and Cesc Fabregas. Yeah. It's just, that's the first sort of imprint of crap recruitment. Then we have, obviously, David Moyes gets sacked. We bring Louis van Gaal in, who's a proven winner. He's won at Ajax before. He's won Champions League, Barcelona, stuff like that. Dan, do you want to take a look at LVG signings and talk us through them?
Yeah, so when LVG came into our club, and he set a very high hopes because of the things he carried, the success he carried through the national team as well as with the clubs. So when he came to our club in 2014, at that time, he bought in many players. It was like a total refresh for the club. And the very first player he bought was Herrera. And we all know that how great player he was.
Good signing.
And that was a good signing there. And he bought it for 29 million. And then the next person he bought was Luke Shaw. And it was also a decent signing because we know that to what level he can play. And then he bought players like Rogo and Di Maria was there, one of the negative ones.
Fucking snake.
Yeah. That was, I think that was the highest amount he used to buy a player. I think Maria
60 million.
60 million. Yeah, because at the time, I think it was maybe in Premier League, it was the highest buyer at the time. So he set the record there. And
I don't even think he wanted him.
Yeah.
I don't think Van Gaal wanted him. It was an Ed Woodward signing. Sell shirts.
It was
that's when it started.
Neither Maria wanted to come, if I'm not wrong. If I know the rumors are correct or not. Then we bought many players like Dele Blind, and that was a deadline day signing, like Falcao. We bought it for loan. Then the next season, I think it was Depay, Damian, Romero, and Schneiderlin, and Bastin, and Martial was also Van Gaal's signing. So it was not like he was not supported by the club for the signings. And in the very first 2014 year, I think he spent around 140 million in one summer. But at the same time, he cannot complain about that the board didn't back him. I know that he wanted some other players as well, like it was like he wanted Neymar and even Gareth Bale he wanted at that time itself, and Benzema. He wanted Benzema and Matt Hummels, and even he tried for Sergio Ramos at that time, but he didn't get, because we can understand that those at that time they would have costed a lot at that very moment, because Bale at that time was almost like more than 100 million at that time. So we cannot say that he didn't. The board didn't back him. He was also involved in all the players leaving the club as well, and he also sent many players out who were not being used. That particular scenario we need now also, because we are having so many players who have never contributed in the team. But at that time when Van Gaal was there, he did this job for the club, and he just did the cleanup job for the club. But yeah, it didn't work out. Within 2 years, he even in the January of 2016, he applied for a resignation, and Ed Woodward cancelled it. And then and he cancelled it, and in May he was terminated. So it's like he wanted to leave, then they didn't allow it, but then when he wanted to stay, at that time they sent him out. So yeah, it was a bit upset moment for him.
And this is the reason why I wanted to bring recruitment into it, because there's so many, like going back through them all, you see how many shit decisions it was made, like with not just players alone, like what you just said then, Dan. Like Van Gaal wanted to handle it. He's like, no, stay on, don't worry about it. Wait till the end of the season, wins a trophy, and then they're like, right, fuck off. And just like, what? Where do you stand with the board? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is why I say Manchester United, like PSG as well for me. It's an impossible job unless you change stuff upstairs. You can bring in any manager you want, But that board, they care so much more about commercial success than what actually happens on the pitch winning trophies. Unless they change that, like systematically change that, I can't see any other manager having an impact. We're just focused on Louis van Gaal specifically. The one thing that sticks out for me is I think he spent 100 million on Darmian, Rojo, Schneiderlin, and Depay. And none of them worked out. Not one of them. Schneiderlin, first of all, was definitely not a United player. I think he was at Everton? Or no, he was at Southampton.
Southampton.
Southampton. He did play for Everton, but he was at Southampton at the time when we bought him. Wasn't exactly pulling up trees. He looked okay. Maybe Van Gaal thought he could transform into a next level player, but that never worked out. Never understood that. Darmian, I never rated. Always thought he was shit. Honestly, always. Any time he played, I just thought, why have we bought him? What's the point? I think we spent 20 million on him or something like that. Awful. Then Depay was okay in patches. You saw a little thing for him where he thought it was a little bit promising and he can, go on to do bigger things. Didn't work out again. Then he went to Lyon, ended up smashing it in the French league and got his move to Barcelona. And who else have I missed? Rojo was just a red card waiting to happen. He's just an aggressive Argentinian centre-back, which in certain games is all right, because when you wanted a bit of grit and a bit of determination, Rojo would show it, but in general, he
wanted someone like Ramos.
Yeah.
We
wanted Ramos. It's like we just got the aggressive side of Ramos, and then all his technical ability and everything like that was just left at home. That's what we got in Rojo effectively. Now he's winging fire extinguishers at players in the South American League, so that tells you everything you need to know.
To add on that, he was also involved in selling Van Persie and Luis Nani, Evans, and Di Maria and Henderson when he came back from loan from Real Madrid.
Wow. The thing about Van Gaal as well is that his style of play was so boring. It was so robotic. I remember seeing a team, I can't remember it fully. It was like Carrick and Schweinsteiger in midfield. But then his wingers weren't wingers. I think it was Juan Mata. So it looked like I had no pace whatsoever. And it was just like a flat four, flat two, flat four, and just side to side, robotic passing. Everyone stays in the same position. And it surprised me when Wayne Rooney talks about him, he's always glowing, saying he's such a really good manager. Like, I love the way he played. I just thought Rooney's such like an aggressive, passion, like, not a passion merchant, but he's just fired up in it. And I think Van Gaal was like the opposite to that for me. Just slow, robotic football. I never really liked it. I got sold a dream again when Di Maria scored that chip. Do you remember against Leicester in one of his first games? Phenomenal chip.
Reality checked in.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, this player, Di Maria. And then, the rest is history on that one. So again, Van Gaal, another poor recruitment phase. Then we move on to Mourinho signings, right? So we've got Fred for 60 million. Don't need to say anymore. I like him, but 60 million, come on. Bailly, 30 million. We went through his injury record on keep or sell, if you remember when I brought it up. So many bad injuries, so many. Ibrahimovic worked out well, in fairness, I'd say, when he was here, won trophies, did his bit, scored quite a lot of goals. So that was okay. Mkhitaryan, we swapped for Alexis Sanchez and then paid Alexis Sanchez 500k a week and made him the highest paid player in the Premier League. We also know how that worked out. We had, so that actually with Sanchez, we actually paid his contract off, didn't we, when he went to Inter Milan. So we paid the rest of it, £10 million, I think it was, or something like that, just so we can get him out of the club and move him on, because that's how toxic it was getting. Because everyone, you got people in the dressing room, and this falls back to the wage structure at the club again, the board making decisions. But you get people in the dressing room, look at Sanchez going, he's on 500k a week. How the fuck is he on 500k a week? Like, I'm scoring 20 goals a season and I'm on 200k a week. Mental, absolutely mental. Then Pogba comes in for £90 million. He's had the equivalent to 2 seasons out with injury. Inconsistent at the best of times. On his day, he's obviously amazing. We know that. But we don't need a player who's just good on his day for £90 million. I recognise he's a very good talent, but for me, he ain't worth a headache. And him and his agent, Raiola, have been a distraction ever since he's joined the club. Like, it's all we've talked about as United fans throughout every season. It's Pogba moving. Where's he going? Is he going to sign a new contract? Constant roller coaster. Like, that hasn't. It's not been great. His return hasn't been. He's won a Europa League, a League Cup, and a Community Shield or something, I think. An FA Cup, sorry. So hasn't worked out necessarily for Pogba, and we had Lukaku as well under Mourinho, 75 million. Never had a system really that suited him. He had the odd season where he scored like 20 goals. Had the same touch as Fred. I don't know if they wear the same boots or whatever. I don't know what's going on there, but he had an awful touch. Was a nice poacher in the box, but just didn't suit United. And then when Ollie came in, Ollie was playing him out on the right. And if you look at Lukaku's like a bull. Like, you can't play him on the wing. He's not a nimble sort of beat a man, get across into the box. So we knew straight away then when Ollie deployed him out on the right-hand side, it's game over. Sold him to Winter, and then he did obviously really well. For Inter Milan, came back to Chelsea. Look what happens at Chelsea. He's not been great there either. Then we get to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So we've mentioned Van Gaal, Moyes, and Mourinho. There's probably 8 out of 10 signings there, or 4 out of 5 signings that are pretty much shit. Like, you'd agree on that. You get the odd one that are decent. Mm-hmm. Ollie signing, okay? So Maguire for 80 million hasn't lived up to his price tag at all. We know that. Like, we discuss Maguire nearly every single day, it feels like. He's probably worth about 30 million at the minute, the way he's playing. You've also got Wan-Bissaka, 50 million pounds. Can't get a game at the moment. Doesn't even seem like he's going to get anywhere near the right back spot. Just doesn't seem he's improving on the technical front going forward. It just seems like he reminds me like a 90s right back. Like, if Wan-Bissaka played in the 90s era, it'd be perfect, because all you have to do is tackle and defend. But the way the modern game is now, it doesn't suit it at all. We got Dan James for 15 million and sold him to Leeds the following season, so that didn't work out. Donny van der Beek's currently on loan to Everton and has played about 2 minutes for us. Couldn't get a game. He was our summer signing, like our big summer signing. Didn't get a game at all. Ollie never rated him. Rangnick didn't seem to rate him. Cavani was great the first season. Then the second season, he can't play a game without his body crumbling. He has 1 game and then he goes missing for like another 2 months. So you can argue that hasn't worked out. Ronaldo was only brought back, so City didn't get him. And there was no contingency plan. Varane has been relatively good, but again, his injuries are a concern. And Sancho is looking promising, to be fair, along with Bruno Fernandes. But again, that goes back to like the pool of players that we've bought. There's 2 out of 8 players, 6 to 7 players there that are decent. So you're talking like they're the best of a bad bunch. You're talking 10-15% hit ratio in your recruitment. And that is no way near good enough for Manchester United. No way near. We're always comparing ourselves to, like, look at Liverpool. Every signing they get is bang on pretty much. Luis Diaz, since he's come in from Porto, has hit the ground running and looks like a Liverpool player straight away. £40 million, I think they paid for him. Diego Jota, £40 million from Wolves, hit the ground running straight away. One of the top goal scorers in the league currently at the moment. Like, the list is endless. Sadio Mane from Southampton for £30 million. Van Dijk for 70 million. Absolutely transformed that team. Who else is there? Alisson from Roma, 60. Like, they paid a lot of money, but they got it bang on. Absolutely, we're paying a lot of money and just getting no way near the success rate that they're getting. Absolutely no way near it. And I know every transfer can't be a home run, but at least get reliable squad members and first teamers to develop a first 11 to work on for years to come. Like, we've got so many different players with different identities from different managers, different tactical setup, where it's just a mess. That's why we look lost on the pitch, lads, because there's just no identity at all. And this brings us to a point that I want to get into about Rangnick's quotes, because he was saying a similar thing last night. I don't know if you've seen him, but so he discussed 4 suggestions to United to fix the club. Recruiting players to a management style, recruiting physical and aggressive players, profiling player DNA, and it could take up to 3 transfer windows. This is what Rangnick's saying, right? And Adam, this falls back to what we've been saying about United having zero identity. If you look at Klopp or Pep's teams, they have 8-9 players that are all their signings. All their signings. You have 1 or 2 like Sterling, De Bruyne, who was there before Pep got there, and same with Klopp. Like, there was only a couple of players. This is a fundamental issue with United, isn't it? And why we need to recruit to a manager's playing style, rather than just sort of random picking or picking players for commercial success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. It comes back to it. We had the best of the rest of the last, how many managers is it now? Is it 5, 6 different managers? Yeah. Players still around from the Ferguson era, which was over 10 years, nearly 10 years ago now. You said it, Pep and Klopp, they have 9-10 players who are their signings. We seem to not ship these players out. We've seen how ruthless Man City can be. If they signed the right back Danilo, he didn't work out, gone. They then got Cancelo, he's working out, Kyle Walker. They've great options to do. Another example was Bravo, couldn't play well in Pep's team. He was shipped. They got Ederson. Again, now he's a hit. Liverpool, obviously, we know they shift players out. Colo Torre, I think, for a time was playing under Klopp. And we're just, I don't know if it's a loyalty thing to these players, because I don't know why we're showing loyalty when they haven't rewarded us at all.
Look what happened. Sorry to interrupt you there, Adam, but look what happened with Joe Hart at City when Pep went in.
Yeah.
Like, he was very good for them, won Premier League titles with him, like League Cups. As soon as Pep went in there, it was like, what, you can't distribute. You can't play the way I want to play out from the back, so you're gone, mate. And that was like a City, kind of a City legend at the time. Like, everyone loved him and respected him. He was vocal in that dressing room, and Pep was just cutthroat and was like, you're gone.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's how we need to be now, especially if Ten Hag comes in. I know he's had discussions. He wants control of the transfers, and I think that's what needs to happen. We haven't been buying players who fit the manager's style. I still think Di Maria, as I said earlier, it wasn't a Van Gaal signing. I think it was made by the board. It was like, okay, we can get this. And that's when I think the shirt selling kind of happened, the big name shirt selling. That's the start of it in the last decade. That's when it started. And there seems to be a big attachment to doing this, getting the big names. Pogba came then, Sanchez came. Feel bad for anyone who got Zlatan. I feel bad for anyone who got number 7 Alexis at the back.
I know. I don't think there's any of them shirts remaining in the world.
No.
Any of them.
I haven't seen any in a long time.
No, I haven't seen any at all.
So we got to stop going for the obvious choice. Liverpool don't go for the obvious choice. They've signed these players that might be for a good amount, as we said, Alisson for 60 million.
Yeah.
But it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
You go for the right player, not the obvious choice. I think Rice is the obvious choice, and it feels like someone that they're 100% going to go for. Look in Europe. Look, have your scouts go around Europe, look for up-and-coming talent on their first, second contract where they can be gelled into a system. And I'm just hoping that's what we go down this road, because it's probably the best chance at a whole cultural reset.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, it is the best opportunity, because I think we can get rid of 9-10 players easily.
Yeah, well, we said that on the keep ourselves, didn't we?
Yeah.
When we finished at the end, it was like 12, 13 players, and it was like, wow. It's obviously not going to happen in one transfer window, and that's maybe why he suggested it's going to take 3 or 4 or whatever, but we'll get into that in a second. Daniel Rangnick mentions recruiting physical and aggressive players. Someone like a Sadio Mane instantly sticks in my mind to fit that criteria, but could you give us a few examples around Europe who we could get who would fit that mold?
Yeah, exactly, as Ragnick also mentioned about his desires, and it was seen that when he came to our club, from the very first game, he has shown that how he wants to play, like high pressing and high energetic. He wants everyone to be with high energy, and but now it started failing in, because whenever our team tries to put their whole energy on the game, they won't last more than 70 minutes, and that's where we were losing the games and dropping the points after 70 minutes. So now we have seen the intentions of Ragnick, what he's trying to do, and what type of player he wants. So I think if you see in the market, there aren't many available which we can get, but at the same time there still are few which we can get in very cheaper rate, as well as we mentioned about Anthony as a right winger. He is, I think, available for around 30-35 million. And he is a type of player who likes to press from the forward. So he's like he likes to do defending from the front. And at the midfield, we all know that we need a center defensive midfielder. And at this moment, Zakaria also has already has gone to Juventus for 4 to 5 million. That hurts till this day. But at the same time, at this moment, one of the central defensive midfielder who is available is Chomini. And he is a very tough guy, and 6.2 his height is, and he can be a very good addition to that team. And can turn this team into a very like what we were lacking in the recent years. And then one of the defenders we want and to replace Maguire. I know that's a hypothetical situation there, but yeah, I can see that the player called Militao from Real Madrid. He is a very promising player, and he's having a very high potential. And when I see him playing, it reminds me of when Varane was in his 20s. So he's a bit fast and very physical type of player, and he also can play on the bit right side. If you're trying to play a back three with back three center backs, he's very good in that right-sided center back role. And definitely we need a striker there. At this moment, I think Haaland is one of the great player available at this time, but he brings his agent with him, and even Haaland will not go to a team who is not playing in Champions League. So, but his release clause is around 70 million. But if he would have been qualifying for the Champions League, then it would have made a chance for him to come to us with the connections of Ragnick, and maybe Oli can help out there. But also there was a couple of strikers who would have fit into our team, like Alvarez, who is already picked up by City, and one more striker whose name is Vlahovic, who Juventus got. So these two strikers were the topmost strikers available in the winter transfer window. But now I think we aren't left with many strikers. One of the striker is Alexander Isak from I think Real Sociedad, but his cost would be very high. I think he will cost around 70 to 80 million. But at the same time, when we are willing to spend 80 million for a striker, then definitely you know that the club will go for Harry Kane. So so these are the main opportunity that we can get in the transfer window. But if that's why I don't want Poch to come in, because if he comes in, he will definitely go. There will be only two signings: one Harry Kane and one Declan Rice. There will be that will be the end of our transfer business.
Yeah, I think Tchouaméni and Militao for Real Madrid would be great signings for us and would definitely fit that mould. Another player who I would suggest is Darwin Núñez from Benfica, who I've watched a lot of recently, and how he plays, how he links up, his physicality, his speed. Like, I think he clocks the fastest speed in the Champions League above Kylian Mbappe and Traore for running. So the guy is fast and he can finish. Again, still a bit rough around the edges. He's 21, 22, but 21 goals in 23 games. And he's got 4 goals in 4 games in the Champions League, something like that, or 4 starts it might be. So I'd keep an eye on him because he looks like a very promising player. I believe West Ham went in for him in January, like put a 40 million bid in for him, and Benfica turned it down. I think they're saying like 60, 70 mil now. So that's one player I'd look at to fit the bracket. But yeah, going back to Ragnick's quotes, he also says we need to profile player DNA and we need an acute. So I think he mentioned something about the scouting system. I could be wrong, but I feel like we need an acute scouting system that really studies the player's behaviour and ability, because a lot of the signings we've made, as we've touched on before, have been for social media clicks, marketing, all the obvious signings, Adam, what you said before. So we need to completely go away from that structure and start with one that fits the manager and who he wants, and 100% back Ten Hag in that aspect. So yeah, moving forward, that's something we definitely need to look at. The last one is, he mentioned this could take up to 3 transfer windows. I think it'll take longer, if I'm honest. When we did the keep or sell, like I said, there was 12 players that we wanted to get rid of. Then you have to replace them players and get the new ones to gel and get used to the system. So just that alone, I think, could take 3, 4, possibly 5 years. Similar to what, when Klopp first came in at Liverpool, like everyone was going on, like when he had Mignolet in net and Karius losing Champions League finals, like spilling the ball, everyone was like they were unsure on him. As soon as he got the players he wanted in the right positions everywhere around the pitch, look at Liverpool now. They're an absolute machine. If it wasn't for City, they would have won numerous Premier League titles, and it's scary how good they are. And I think that's what Ralph is referring to in terms of what he wants in the team. And I think that's why Fred has improved so much, because he fits that bracket. He's very physical, gets about the pitch quite a lot. So I think that's why he's improved him, because he's a Ragnick type of player. So yeah, another thing, the last thing I wanted to touch on, sorry guys, was the manager appointment. Now I know this has been going on for a while. It's, is it going to be Poch? Is it going to be Ten Hag? And it appears like they're going to announce it soon. It's looking like Ten Hag. Does anyone think Poch will be the boss come the summer? And does anyone have faith if it isn't Ten Hag? Just very quickly, if you can, guys.
For me, I think I'll go. For me, at this point, I'd just be disappointed. They've dragged it on for so long. They've almost pulled all the excitement out of it. I've said before that it feels like they're waiting for a bad result to announce it.
Yeah.
Just because, the way our club is
typical
run,
United.
it's like, deflect. That's what it is. And for me, it's a bit unfair. He probably wants it to be announced at the end of the season because he doesn't want any distractions away from Ajax because they're in a tight title race at the moment. So that'd be understandable. And again, as I said, it wouldn't surprise me if they announced it kind of went against his wishes. So starting it off to a bad start for him. The cynic in me is also, I have that in the back of my head. It's like Poch. It's Ferguson's word carries a lot. It does, and he's still involved heavily. So there's a bit in the back, but there's a lot of smoke at the moment, and where there's smoke, there's fire, and the wind is blowing for Ten Hag, as Gary Neville has said, and I think they are going to go with it because they can't disappoint the fans even more now.
No, it's a good point. It's a good point. Dan, what are we thinking? What do you think? Do you think Ten Hag's going to get announced soon?
Yeah, I think it will be announced maybe inside the team, but I'm not sure whether they'll be announcing it or making it an official statement because he still is in serving his contract with Ajax, and he'll be respectful to Ajax, just not to just go or divert their concentration away from the league and to all this bad stuffs. But I think the wind is towards Erik ten Hag, and it's a bit diminishing towards Poch. And even I want Erik ten Hag to come in because we have already seen what he can do. And when he wants to come to our club, and we want Erik ten Hag, and even the fans want him, then what's the block in there? So I'm very sad to hear these things that even after when you know that Erik ten Hag is willing to come in and still you are going for some other candidates and interviewing them, and you want a manager and he's willing to come, then what's the point of interviewing other candidates? It's just like taking the focus away from the main person. So I think it will be announced soon, but still I'm confused that whether it will be announced openly or just secretly. We'll be hearing the rumors.
Fingers crossed, lads. Anyway, fingers crossed. I hope it is Ten Hag. Lads, lots of stuff that we've spoken about there. Quite a long show, but it needed to be spoken about. So thank you for joining me in that and discussing it. Don't forget, tomorrow, guys, we have mine and Daniel's news show, where we round up articles from the week and give our opinions on it. Well, technically it is new, isn't it? So it's a new news show, but so we'll be rounding up articles from the week and giving our opinion on that. We also have, I think on Wednesday, we've got opposition opinion, and Thursday, Statman, Friday, Everton preview, and then match day on Saturday. So as always, loads of content. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our social media platforms. Just type in Real Reds on Twitter, TikTok, Insta, Facebook, wherever you're at, whatever you go on, and we'll be on there for basically clips, any type of news. Hit us up. And thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for joining me, lads, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
See you guys.
Cheers.